Hey, welcome to God and Therapy Network. I wanted to come here and share this quick sermon about faith buffers with you guys. God just taught me real quick about that. And I know that some of you need some motivation and some push with your faith in this season. So stay tuned and enjoy the message. Well, good evening, everybody. I am so happy to be here today. So this week, as I was talking to God, and I was asking him what it is that he wanted to say to you guys today, and he gave me the word faith buffers. And I'm like, what is a buffer? Like, how is it that I can figure that out? So I went to Google and I Googled the word buffer, and I found out what it is, and I think that's where the word from tonight is coming from. So faith is described as the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance about what we do not see. So it's a confidence that you have in the thing that you're hoping for, and then the knowing that that thing, although you do not see it, that it will come to pass because of the source that it's coming from, because of the source of the promise. And I know that there are some of us who may have promises that we have from God and things that we have to believe for in this season. And sometimes we go in either direction with those things. Sometimes we believe for it and our faith is unshakable and we stand firm. Sometimes our faith is very shakable. Our faith is very shaky, and our faith is not firm in God for those things. And sometimes some of us do go back and forth and we do not stand firm with our faith. It says in Hebrews 11, verse 6, that without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. So I know that you guys may have something that you are believing for right now, and I'm going to speak directly to that for right now, because I believe that the enemy has been at work underneath, right? He's been underground doing some work that as Christians, we cannot detect. As Christian, we have not detected. And today I'm here to reveal some of those things so that we can be able to free our faith to be the way that God has called it to be. And in Hebrew 11, we see a lot of great men and women of faith, starting from Abraham, going to Noah, Moses, who believed and operated many miracles, Enoch, who basically was taken up because he had faith and believed in God. And in the New Testament, we have Peter, we have the Apostle Paul, we have different people and different examples. And in your life, I'm sure that you can name a few heroes of faith, like people who have unshakable faith and have believed God, that the moment God opens his mouth and says something to them, those people do believe God and allow themselves to trust in his word. So, and those great men and women, I'm not saying that their faith was never shaken. I'm not saying that they always believed. I'm not saying that there wasn't never a hint of doubt that that came to their minds, because even like when you look at Sarah in the Bible, Sarah, I would say when God said she would have a son and she laughed, I would say that's a hint of doubt, but still she made it to the hall of faith. So perfection is not what God is asking us for, but I think it's asking us for consistency in what we believe, consistency in the way that we believe him. So getting to the buffer part, right? I was trying to understand it, and it's actually a term in chemistry. A buffer is basically a solution that you can add to another solution that you have, and the buffer actually keeps the pH level the same, which means that no matter what else happens or comes or drops into the solution, that the pH level, which is the level of acidity that you want to add, it remains the same. And as I was asking God, like, what is it that this has to do? What does this have to do with faith? And he says the enemy has been using different channels to add buffers to your faith. The enemy has been using different things to keep your faith the same. The enemy has been using so many things to keep you from getting to the level of faith that you need so that you can begin to see the things that you're waiting to happen for those things to happen. And those buffers, you never add them in large amounts. When I was doing the research, the buffers are added in small amounts. And the thing is that if he sends it in an amount that is small enough that you're not going to detect it, then that's the strategy that he's been using in this season so that you won't see what it is that he's doing. And once you can't see what it is that he's doing, you think that everything is normal, everything is the way that it's supposed to be. But God is saying that we need to start paying attention to small amounts of buffers that the enemy has been adding to our faith to keep it at the same level that it's been. And when you look at a chemical solution, it can be either like under 7, which is that would make it acidic, or it would be over 7 that would make it basic. And some of us, our faith are on the acidic side, and the enemy has been working really hard to keep it there. That when we are under 7, we are bitter towards God. Yeah, there is a part of us that still believes that he's going to do what it is that he said is going to do. But deep down, if we dig into our hearts, we will see that because we've waited for so long for this thing that we've asked God for, because we have prayed and prayed and prayed, and those prayers seem to not be answered, there is some bitterness that began to form into our hearts. Not that we don't believe that God can do it, but maybe we believe that God won't do it for us. Not that we don't believe that God will eventually do it, but we believe that God is probably going to punish us or make us wait forever. God is saying that it's time to uproot the bitterness that is in our hearts so that our faith can be unleashed, and our faith can really become what it is that it's supposed to become, to cause the miracle that we're wanting to happen in our lives to happen, to cause us to be unstuck from certain situations, to cause us from getting to cause us to get to a place that God is wanting for us to go, but that we need to partner with him to get to with our faith. And then the other side of it is that we become basic sometimes. And the enemy sends some buffers and some things to keep us on that side. That's when we really become nonchalant. We stop believing altogether, or we hold on to a little bit of belief here and there, but it's never consistent. One day we believe that God's going to do it. The other day we lean on the side of other things, on the side of anxiety, on the side of fear, on the side of the words that other people have said to us. And the way that the strategy that the enemy has used to send those buffers into our lives is through words, is through the things that we listen to, is through the things that we allow into our gates. So there's the eye gate, the ear gate, those things that we allow our senses to pick up on are these things that the enemy is using to send little signals, little pieces of buffers to be able to stunt our faith. So tonight, it's important that we guard our ears, that we guard our eyes, because these are the methods and the strategy that the enemy is using to send those buffers into our lives. So God's desire is to get our faith to be at a balance 7. And when we see 7 is the number of completion. 7 is the number of completion, and that's balance. He wants us to be right in the middle where we're supposed to be. God says that once your faith gets to a level 7, it becomes limitless. Once your faith gets to a level 7, it becomes something that cannot be stopped, because it's at a perfection phase, not because you got it all together, not because you are doing everything right, not because you never doubt, not because everything is good on your side, but because when it gets to that level, God can then use it and transform it and grow it to the level that he needs it to be, so that you can be able to do the things that he has called you to do, and you can be able to believe for those things that he is already wanting to do in your life. But if you would just partner with him with your faith, then he will be able to do so with you. And it's saying that it is time, that he's calling us to a new season, and it is a season of dangerous faith. And dangerous faith means that things that nobody else would dare believe for, things that nobody else would allow themselves to even think about that they could do. In Genesis 1:26, it says that he gave us dominion over everything that is on earth except people. He gave us dominion over those things. So if we have dominion over these things, then we can trust that whatever it is that we want to happen on earth, it will happen. It says, whatever it is that you declare on earth, it will happen in heaven. So whatever it is that we need, whatever it is that we require from God in this season, if it is a dangerous faith prayer, if it is a prayer that is moving heaven, that is challenging heaven, that God is able to come down and match it. God is able to come down and answer those prayers. But first, we must remove the buffers, and we must remove all those limits that we put on our faith. We must remove those words that the enemy has been repeating in our minds over and over again. And when we look at Goliath and that example in the Bible, we see that Goliath consistently and persistently came after the children of Israel. It says in 1 Samuel 17:16 that every morning that he came and for 40 days straight, he was telling them that they are not worthy, that God will not save them, that they had nobody to come fight for them. And those lies kept coming in their minds to the point where they started running at his voice, that the moment he started stomping around and making noise, and that's all the enemy is. He stomps around and makes noise to cause us to not believe in the thing that God is calling us to do. So I want to stir up your faith tonight, and I want to remove every buffer that the enemy has persistently over time in small amounts have placed upon your life, so that you can begin to believe that the God who said that he's going to do it is going to do it, that the God who said that he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think, that he's going to do what it is that he promised. He says that his word never leave his mouth without returning to him, and do not return to him void, that without doing what it is that he has set them out to do. So if your miracle doesn't happen, if the thing that you are asking God for doesn't happen, it will make God look bad. And God is not in the business of letting himself look bad. God is not a man that he should lie. So whatever he said about you will come to pass. And if you have the nerve to believe that, if you have the courage to believe that, if you have the courage to shut off the lies of the enemy and allow yourself to say, okay, God, if you said it, then I believe it. Okay, God, if you said that it's possible, although I don't know where to start, although I don't know what to do about this situation, although I cannot do anything to impact this health situation, although I cannot change my family member, although I cannot change my children, although I cannot make my husband listen, although I cannot make my wife behave differently, although I cannot do anything differently. But God, so if you are limiting yourself tonight and limiting God tonight and allowing those buffers from the enemies to stop you, it is your choice, and it is up to you if you do that. But God is looking for people that want to see the impossible happen on the earth, that want to bring heaven down to earth, so that we can experience the freedom and the peace and the joy that exists in his presence. So whatever you do tonight, whatever you decide to do with your faith, whatever you decide to believe in, and I know Holy Spirit is bringing to your mind something specific right now that you need to unleash your faith for. And whatever that is, I am encouraging you and asking you to go find out what those buffers are that the enemy has placed on your life, and begin to pray them out, and begin to declare what it is that God has said to you, as opposed to the lies and the wiles that the enemy has been whispering into your ears over the years. If you dare believe it, God will certainly bring it to pass. But it is really up to you what happens next.